There is a strange kind of silence that exists only before a war begins. Not the peaceful kind, not the comforting kind, but the heavy, pressing silence that makes every breath feel louder than it should. In the hours before dawn, medieval battlefields were not places of shouting or glory. They were places of waiting, of cold fingers tightening around weapons, of eyes fixed on a horizon that refused to give answers. Imagine standing there. The ground beneath your boots is damp and unforgiving. A thin fog clings to the earth, moving slowly, as if even the land itself is unsure of what is about to happen. Somewhere behind you, a fire crackles, weak, flickering, struggling against the cold. Ahead of you, nothing. Just mist, shadows, and the quiet knowledge that thousands of other men are standing exactly the same way, feeling exactly the same fear. Most soldiers did not think about victory in those moments. They thought about home, about a wife they might never see again, about a child who still believed their father was brave, not terrified. History books rarely mention this part, but this was the true beginning of every medieval war. Commanders understood something very important. Men do not break when swords clash. They break during the waiting. That is why drums were used, not just to signal movement, but to give the mind something to hold on to. A rhythm, a heartbeat, a reminder that time was still moving forward. As the sky slowly shifted from black to gray, armor caught the first weak light of dawn. Metal glimmered softly. Banners stirred in the cold wind, their colors muted by mist and fatigue. No speeches echoed across the field. No heroic cries filled the air. Those came later, if they came at all. In this moment, every soldier was alone with his thoughts. Some whispered prayers, some clenched their jaws and stared forward, refusing to look left or right, because looking meant seeing fear reflected back at them, and fear, once shared, had a way of growing. When the first order finally came, it was rarely shouted. It didn't need to be. A raised hand, a step forward, a signal passed quietly down the line, boots pressed into the mud. The fog broke and swirled as thousands of bodies began to move at once. Not running, not yet. Walking. Across the field, the enemy line emerged slowly like a dark shape forming in a dream. Banners answered banners. Movement mirrored movement. Two forces drawn toward each other by something neither side could stop. Archers stepped forward. Bows were raised. Strings pulled tight. This was the final moment. The last heartbeat before history changed direction. Because once the first arrow was released, nothing could be taken back. Not the fear, not the blood, not the lives that were about to be spent like currency. The air itself seemed to hold its breath. And then it happened. A single arrow cut through the mist, then another, then hundreds more. Shields rose instinctively. Men braced themselves. The waiting was over. This is where most people think war begins. But they are wrong. War truly begins here, in the silence that came before, when every man knew what was coming and stepped forward anyway.
Subscribe for next part.